You're watching News 6 at 10 p.m.
Now on News 6, we are tracking the tropics, specifically an invest off Africa. Don't fall for the scary stuff on social media. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagis is separating fact from fiction. Plus, days after Florida's Surgeon General called for an end to all vaccine mandates in schools, President Trump sounds skeptical.
Look, you have vaccines that work. They're just pure and simple work. They're not controversial at all. And I think those vaccines should be used. Otherwise, some people are going to catch it.
Just in, the president's message about vaccine mandates.
So I think TikTok is the way nowadays.
For me, that's number one. Like every time that I go to a place, I just check in TikTok.
Now your tax dollars will be going to TikTok. New at 10, why Visit Orlando is taking its message and its money to the social media site. But we start now at 10 tonight with a hometown show of support for a wounded FSU football player at his former high school, one that really moved his family members.
It has no price on it. You know, the way the love and support has been coming in, showing that, you know, Ethan meant a lot to people that know him and people that don't even know him.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Lisa Bell. Matt and Ginger are off tonight. We are nearing 1 week since family members say Ethan Pritchard was shot in the back of the head. They say the 18-year-old was hit in a case of mistaken identity while taking a loved one home near Tallahassee. Pritchard is currently a freshman with the FSU Seminoles. Before that, he was a star member of the Seminole High Seminoles. Community correspondent Jarrell Baker was there as his hometown showed support at tonight's game in Samford.
As the Seminole High Seminoles took the field dressed in orange and black Friday night, one jersey stood out among them all, Ethan Pritchard's number 9 jersey. The team captain wore Pritchard's jersey for the coin toss. Coaches, fans, and his family also wearing his number to uplift the FSU freshman linebacker and Seminole High alumnus who was shot at an apartment complex in Havana over the weekend.
Ethan was a star athlete here at the school, but he was also an exemplary student. It was just a pleasure to be around. Obviously, there was a tragic situation. We wanted to gather around, celebrate Ethan, number 9, and do everything that we can to support him.
A GoFundMe page for Ethan and his family, started by the Noles coach, raised over $100,000 in just 2 days. The Bokie Boosters Club is also selling T-shirts to raise money for Ethan's recovery.
We're just so blessed that we can do that, and obviously prayers are amazing and we're all lifting them up in prayer, but financial needs are crucial right now as well.
Ethan's family was there, moved by the outpouring of love.
It has no price on it. You know, the way the love and support has been coming in, showing that, you know, Ethan meant a lot to people that know him and people that don't even know him.
His uncle, Reginald Mims Sr., says his nephew is stable but has a long road to recovery. And with all the support, he's confident Ethan will pull through.
Being the person Ethan is, and he's a young fighter, he'll be back out on the field, you know, not this year, but I see him being on the field next year.
In Seminole County, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
Our other top story tonight, we are tracking the tropics. Less than 2 weeks from the peak of hurricane season, the Hurricane Center keeps watching a blob off Africa called Invest 91. Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation panicking people on social media about where this thing could be headed. So meteorologist Jonathan Kagis joins me now, and we want to make very clear, it is far too soon to really start worrying about this.
For sure, yeah. Something obviously we're watching, but I'll say you probably didn't see those models posted a lot on social media today because most models completely disintegrated the storm. So that's what is the difference here today. We were talking about this yesterday, that it was going to have a long road as well, whether the track was going to come this direction or not because of the atmosphere that it was moving into in the short term. I want to show you this, though. Hurricane Center dropping the percentage of development of even becoming a tropical depression from a 90% chance down to 60% chance. See the red shaded area here now down to orange, that moderate color. There is Invest 91L right there. It's that cluster of thunderstorms. It's not these. These behind it shouldn't develop either. But watching this one again, it's possible still that we get a depression or a tropical storm out of the deal. But it's going to have to fight. We showed you this last night. Again, all the orange on the screen. This is the dry air out ahead of the system. There is the storm itself there in the green bubbling up. So it's trying to fire out some thunderstorms tonight. But still, it's likely going to stay weak in hidden as it heads towards the islands, and it may not develop at all. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, and also your weekend, of course, storm chances going up. We'll time out those thunderstorms for you if you have outdoor plans. Coming up at about 10:17, Lisa.
Jonathan, thank you. New at 10 tonight, changing tactics to target.
Anything is possible, as long as you can imagine it. And that's what makes Orlando unbelievably real.
Right now, that is the very mainstream message Visit Orlando is using to market Central Florida to the masses. And now the agency, which received nearly 1/3 of all hotel tax money in Orange County, is turning from TV to TikTok in a push to win over young people. The new City Break campaign kicks off on September 15th. It features content creators showing off some of Orlando's hottest attractions. Your iDrive community correspondent Troy Campbell is speaking with Visit Orlando and Gen Zers with reaction.
Visit Orlando says the goal of the campaign is to encourage younger people to come and visit Central Florida. So we spoke to some Gen Zers down here on iDrive to see if they think TikTok will be effective. Describe the partnership with TikTok.
So we utilize TikTok for some of our paid media, and they have a creative network. And so it's the first time we've tapped into it.
Danielle Hollover is the Chief Marketing Officer for Visit Orlando. She says the new City Break campaign will kick off September 15th and will include paid content on TikTok aimed at the Gen Z age group. Essentially, these become like paid advertisements, but they're in the form of they're on TikTok. There's a creator that did it.
And they've had to have been to Orlando, so it is authentic. And we look at it and say, does it meet our strategies? Is it going to resonate? And then we'll be picking some of that creative, and it'll be part of our campaign.
What are some appealing things about Orlando to the Gen Z age group?
Well, it's a lot of fun things to do out here. It's warm, you know, if you live all around the world. I'm from New York City, it's cold. So you can stay out late. There's plenty of options food-wise, and it's fun.
Marcus Washington is visiting from New York and says TikTok is the most effective way to advertise to his age group. What are your thoughts that Visit Orlando is going to use TikTok as a way to try to connect and appeal to people of Gen Z?
Well, Gen Z was the one that made TikTok explode because we were the ones who made it popular. So I think TikTok is the way nowadays where everybody's a social media creator, content creator, and people follow those things.
And explain the importance of TikTok to Gen Z.
For me, that's number one. Like every time that I go to a place, I just check in TikTok to see what is the reviews or the content about the place.
Carla Lopez says, as a content creator herself, she thinks TikTok will be a great way to get younger visitors to Central Florida. What are your thoughts that they're going to use social media? They're going to team up with TikTok and they're going to have creators make paid content where they're showing what they're doing in Orlando and their experiences, and they're posting it on TikTok so people see it. The idea is they want to come and take a visit here.
I love it because I'm a creator as well, so definitely.
And again, the campaign runs from September 15th until November 15th. Along iDrive, I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Our area's biggest industry just keeps booming. Today, we learned Orange County just broke records for the month of July, taking in almost $30 million in tourist taxes. That is up 11% from last July, according to Orange County Comptroller Phil Diamond. The extra revenue is helping to fund big projects like the Convention Center expansion, Camping World Stadium renovations, and the UCF football stadium tower. Developing tonight, a large chunk of the city of Mineola is going to need to boil all water before cooking or drinking it. That's the warning tonight as city crews keep working to repair a major water main break. So take a look at these pictures of the enormous hole that had to be dug to fix this mess. A contractor for Giga Power accidentally damaged the main earlier today while trying to install a fiber optic line. Mineola crews plan to be out there all night, making sure the repair is complete and water service is restored. So here's a map of the area where you need to boil your water, outlined in red. It covers the area west of Highway 27 from Division Street north to North Main Avenue, then continues west to North Lakeshore Drive. We've posted full details at clickorlando.com. New at 10 tonight, President Trump is now weighing in for the first time on Florida's plan to ban mandatory vaccines for school children. He's throwing cold water on the idea. Here's what he said tonight in the Oval Office.
You have some vaccines that are so incredible And I think you have to be very careful when you say that some people don't have to be vaccinated. It's a very, it's a very tough position. It's a tough stance. Look, you have vaccines that work. They just pure and simple work. They're not controversial at all. And I think those vaccines should be used. Otherwise, some people are going to catch it and they endanger other people. And when you don't have controversy at all, I think people should take it.
That's what the president said tonight. Now, on Wednesday, Florida's Surgeon General vowed to repeal every last vaccine mandate. Joseph Ladapo even calling them as wrong as slavery. Take a listen.
Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery.
Children are currently required to have a number of vaccines before preschool. Many of them are mandated by a decades-old state law, including for polio, diphtheria, measles, mumps, and rubella. Boosters for those vaccines are required for kindergarten through 12th grade. State lawmakers would have to change those laws. Ladapo, though, could lift some newer vaccine requirements like chickenpox, Hep B, and more with the approval of his health department board. But many doctors are against ending the mandate. You can hear from some of those doctors and read statements from local school districts and the teachers union in this story at clickorlando.com. For weeks, we've heard city after city talking about raising fire fees and in some cases taxes to pay for growth and rising inflation. But your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver shows us how Oviedo has found a way to buck the trend.
From gas to groceries, it's the talk around town. Everything is getting more expensive.
Yeah, it's bad.
Had you heard that the city is looking at decreasing the property tax rate?
No, I did not hear that.
People we met in Oviedo didn't know about a possible decrease yet, but they did want to know what it means for their bottom line.
There's people out here that are living paycheck to paycheck and not making it.
This week, the city council voted in favor of a tax rate reduction. It would reduce revenue by $419,000, saving the average homeowner about $36 a year.
That's a half a tank of gas, a meal for your family.
As we spoke, this woman was opening a notice from Seminole County.
That's funny.
They're raising the property tax rate to balance their budget. So many places are having to raise their rates. How can Oviedo get away with lowering theirs?
Last year, we could have raised it 2/3 as much as was raised and still covered all of our expenses for last year. So between that and the value of all of the properties increasing, there was just some wiggle room.
Mayor Megan Sladek calls this year a reset. The tentative budget funds salary and benefit increases, new positions, and more. But the city still has debt and projects on the horizon, including building a bigger police headquarters. Are there still cuts to be made?
We don't need to be remodeling the bathrooms on the second floor of City Hall. So we're going to cut out some things like that and hopefully be able to balance the budget without having to cut anything that people will notice.
Well, if they can do it, they should.
People we spoke with were skeptical, wondering if rising property values would offset the decrease in the tax rate.
Sounds like a token, like it's not going to really make a difference.
The council voted 3-2 in favor of the rate reduction, but it won't be official until a second budget hearing that will happen here later this month. In Oviedo, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
How many chickens is too many chickens in your neighborhood? One local city has an answer, but some chicken lovers are crying foul. The reason when News 6 continues. Plus, a local church vandalized the damage left behind by a boy who was barely a teen and the excuse he gave police. But first, busted just hours apart when an undercover agent learned inside 2 Orange County smoke shops that could be putting lives in danger. That's next. You're watching News 6 live on a Friday night, covering Baldwin Park, Bay Hill, and all of Central Florida. Now on News 6, an operation targeting 2 local smoke shops. Agents with the state's Division of Alcoholic Beverages and Tobacco went undercover. And as News 6 Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti explains, the focus was nitrous oxide.
2 smoke shops, both on East Colonial Drive, are on the state's radar now that a clerk from each of the businesses has been arrested. 35-year-old Michael McKellar and 25-year-old Sebastian Cook are charged with selling or distributing more than 16 grams of nitrous oxide, a third-degree felony. On August 27th, just hours apart, agents went undercover with the intention of buying nitrous oxide, a colorless gas that can be used in dispensers to make whipped cream fluffy, but it can also be used to get high. At the East Side Smoke Shop, the agents reported they asked Sebastian Cook about a 320-gram canister of nitrous oxide. Cook's arrest affidavit alleges he said, quote, "It can be used to make whipped cream, but some people, for recreational use, inhale it." Authorities said Cook told the agents how to inhale the product, pointing to balloons that can be used to prolong the high. Cook allegedly said nitrous oxide is a, quote, "super festival music drug, I can say." At no point, the affidavit claims, did Cook say nitrous oxide is solely intended for culinary or legal purposes. That's the same claim made in Michael McKellar's arrest affidavit. At Vapor Crew, undercover agents asked him how Galaxy Gas was used. McKellar allegedly walked through the steps of using the device to ingest to get, quote, high. Agents said McKellar described a, quote, 60-second incredible high at rave scenes.
And it is a crisis that no one's talking about. And they've been able to do it because everyone's looking the other way.
Earlier this year, we spoke to the family of Margaret Caldwell, who at 29 years old was found dead behind a smoke shop. She had struggled with an addiction to nitrous oxide. And this past winter, her family filed this lawsuit against nitrous oxide manufacturers and smoke shops in an effort to try to stop the sale of these products.
She never believed that something she could buy in a smoke shop that she thought she was buying legally would kill her.
The 2 shops named in the arrest affidavits are not among those named in the aforementioned lawsuit. Management at these shops are not saying anything. But over the phone with me, an employee at one of these shops did question the legitimacy of the sting operations, characterizing them as, quote, entrapment. Court records show that an attorney on behalf of Cook entered a plea of not guilty. McKellar's docket has yet to reflect a plea. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
A 13-year-old boy is facing a felony charge in Marion County for breaking into and damaging a church. Deputies say he vandalized St. Mary's Missionary Baptist Church in Silver Springs. A pastor and caretaker first spotted several broken windows on Sunday, then noticed damaged drywall, adding up to about $10,000 in damage. During the investigation, a witness told deputies where the boys may have lived. A few days later, deputies say they found items that belonged to the church at that address. They say the 13-year-old later admitted to going into the church multiple times because he thought it was abandoned and wanted to sell the stuff that he stole. People in one corner of Brevard County will be allowed to keep more chickens in their backyard. Last night, Palm Bay City Council voted to increase the number of chickens that people are allowed to have from 4 to 6. The original proposal in April asked for 8 chickens, but the city settled on 6. 3 people spoke during public comment. 2 of them were for the chickens, while 1 was against it.
When you have 6 and you have roosters there and they become noisy, and everybody has a right to some peace and quiet. So how do you monitor a quality of life? I mean, got a bunch of chickens, I think, not only in our neighborhood, but right across Tillman Canal. How do you monitor respecting somebody's quality of life, too?
The proposal moved forward 4-1. The mayor was the lone no vote. All right, we want to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, who is standing by, pinpointing our weekend forecast for us. Jonathan?
Yeah, and it looks a little wetter, at least compared to the last few days, which hasn't been much for most of Central Florida because we've been on the drier side, an atypical pattern for this time of the summer anyway. We are still watching a couple of downpours, and this has been the theme almost every night, right on the Volusia coastline, to get some late-night downpours with that breeze off of the Atlantic. You can track the downpours that are out there now off the coast and the thunderstorms that'll be likely tomorrow with the free News 6 weather app. Again, most of Central Florida dry tonight as expected. Now, getting into tomorrow, we're going to watch for the opportunity for a couple of thunderstorms early right along the coast. Again, you saw that little flare up there. better opportunity going to come as we get into the early afternoon. So this is 4 o'clock, trying to fire up storms along I-95, also through I-75, and then the two sea breezes come together and then help to increase storm chances, mainly late into the evening tomorrow. Obviously going to watch that for the UCF game tomorrow. Again, getting into the opportunity to have thunderstorms nearby, if not even push back into East Orange County. So we're going to watch that closely for you guys tomorrow. 4 or 5 o'clock on your Sunday morning, we'll see a mainly clear sky across most of Central Florida. Live look for us in Daytona Beach. We're at 81 degrees. The breeze is out of the south-southeast at about 3 to 5 miles an hour across the board. We're at 80 degrees in DeLand right now. Wildwood, good evening. We are at 79. 81 degrees for us in New Smyrna Beach. Tomorrow, again, rain chances going up a little bit. 60% chance for rain, especially once we get into the afternoon. We're at 92 in Groveland, 91 in Kissimmee, Titusville. We are back into the upper 80s. We're going to keep things unsettled, or at least turn things unsettled, really once we get into next work week. We're going to start things off on Sunday. Big cold front coming to North Florida. We are not going to get involved in the fall-like feel behind this front, but what this will do is help to tap into some extra moisture, increase rain chances by the latter stages of Sunday night. You see the stationary front here draped across Central Florida. That's going to be 4 o'clock on your Monday afternoon, and you see the darker red or the darker yellows, oranges, and greens in there. That's some of the heavier rain potential that we get ourselves into starting Monday and really lasting till about Wednesday, as that front stays parked over Central Florida. Now, we're not going to get in on the fall-like feel, but it's not too far away. Look at the dew point change again. This is the most important number for your comfort, aside from the temperature. We're typically in the mid to upper 70s in the summer. Panhandle, Pensacola, getting down to 50. That is window opening stuff right there. It's close. The peninsula is going to have to wait, though, a little while longer for any kind of fall-like feel. 92 degrees on Saturday, 92 on Sunday. Rain chances up to 60%. 70% chance for rain on Monday. There's that unsettled stretch that I showed you through about Wednesday. Rain chances tick down a little bit by the end of next work week.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. We could be 90 days from the wrecking ball for a historic hotel. Daytona Beach purchased it to tear it down, but there is last-minute pushback.
I would be interested in seeing what they intend to do with it before I really pass judgment on whether they should tear it down or not.
Next at 10, the last-ditch effort to save the old Campbell Hotel.
The Campbell Hotel here in Daytona Beach was the only place for black families to stay during segregation. Famous musicians like Dizzy Gillespie and legendary athletes like Jackie Robinson stayed here when he integrated minor league baseball around the corner. That's one of the reasons residents are now coming together, forming a group to try to save this building from the city tearing it down.
My mom has always talked about the Campbell Hotel and, of course, about this road, Mary McLeod Bethune, which was once 2nd Avenue. And she always talks about how sparkling and how exciting it was back in the day.
Daytona Beach residents like Kim Moten, who grew up nearby, would like to see the boulevard come back to life.
They should do everything possible to keep it, restructure it, and maybe do some great things there, something that would be inspiring to the community.
The building was condemned back in 2023 after a fire. The city bought the building last year and then paid for a structural assessment. But the city ultimately deciding to tear it down, saying it would be too expensive for it to save. But at last week's city commission meeting, these residents we talked to today showed up saying they want this building to be saved. And now the city is giving anyone interested in purchasing it 90 days to submit a proposal to save it.
I would be interested in seeing what they intend to do with it before I really pass judgment on whether they should tear it down or not.
Local historian Harold Lucas Jr. is pushing for someone to save the building, but only if there are solid plans to transform it into something, not just another empty building.
It might be worth saving, but not just for its historical value, but for the value of the community, because urban renewal came through and tore all the other things down, and they haven't replaced them yet.
I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Thank you for spending some time with us tonight. You can find all of tonight's stories plus breaking news on News 6 Plus. It's free to download on your smart TV or streaming device. We hope you have a fantastic Friday night and a great weekend.